Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the If You Ask Me podcast. I'm here today with a friend of mine, Kriss. Thank you for joining me today, man. Kriss is someone that I know as Coach Kriss because you're part of the organization that helps my daughter with her soccer and with the CDA Slammers club sports. But as we were talking off cameras, you do a lot more than just coaching. But we'll get into that. So, Kriss, thank you for joining me today, man. I appreciate you being here. For those that don't know you, who are you, sir?
Yeah, no, well, first off, thanks for having me, bro. I appreciate it. It's exciting. It's my first podcast ever, so.
Welcome.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just a soccer coach at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, it's director of CDA Slammers North, the Whittier branch, Fullerton branch.
Yeah.
I coach over at Fullerton College, the women's team. During the day, do a little bit of real estate investing.
Yeah.
You know, so that's essentially me in a nutshell, right? So it's real estate by day, soccer coach by night.
Yeah, we met. I don't know, a few years ago, right, when my daughter was going to get into the sport. I remember meeting for the first time. Small program. Fast forward a couple years later, I mean, the program is blown up, right?
For sure.
And not until just recently, I'm knowing that you're even doing more than the coaching thing, because which is amazing, and it's part of the world that we live in, especially here in Southern Cal, man. It's like real estate is expensive, so we need to find a few streams of income to help us,
for sure.
To really just position ourselves well for our families and whatnot. But let's get into a little bit of how you got started. You've expressed a little bit right now who you are and what you do. How'd you get into that? Like, let's go into the coach, because Coach Kriss soccer is a big thing. You are doing real estate, right? You are. What were the other things? Real estate coach. Was there one more thing? Did I miss something? No,
that's it.
Just real estate coaching.
Yeah.
On the coaching side, what's that like for you? Because you mentioned this off camera. You played the sport, right?
Right.
Let's talk about how that part of your life.
Yeah.
You playing the sport, and then we'll talk into how you get into coaching. So what's it like for you as an athlete?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think growing up was what started it all, right? It's like I think Ronaldinho said it the best. It's like I learned everything that I know about life with the ball.
Wow.
Right next to my foot. So it's like it's not the quote unquote, but I truly live by that,
Yeah.
Soccer teaches us a lot more than just a sport. It teaches a lot of life lessons, and that's something that now I appreciate.
Yeah.
And I try to pass that message forward when I'm coaching with not only with our coaches, but with the kids and with the parents. It's just a beautiful experience overall.
Yeah.
But growing up, I mean, I thought I was a lot better than what I was, I thought I was really good. I was like, man, for sure, I'm going to graduate high school, go pro. Like, it was like I was playing on some really good teams. But there wasn't great coaching like there is today. Like, that's one thing that really stands out is I don't think there's the amount of coaching education and passion that there is today. And it's made a huge impact on the game today that you can see.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was a good player, average player, in my friend group. I had some really good ballers, some really good players. And which one is I call him my best friend. It's like family to me. It's Coach Jonathan Prieto. Phenomenal player. And in his group, he had Choco, who was a phenomenal player. Facundo, Argentinian friend of ours that's in Argentina. Shout out to Argentina. Phenomenal player as well, and so many players around us that were so good, but they all got to play with Coach Brian Claben, which Brian Claben has him and his brother have a coaching podcast, and they also have coaching education platforms called.
That's cool that they have a coaching podcast.
For sure.
Maybe you'll start a coaching podcast in addition to the real estate.
No, it's but it's called 343.
Okay.
And what they offer is a coaching platform, and they offer you the trial and error. And I think that's amazing. So going back to growing up, I didn't have the experience of having a great quality coach like those players had.
Yeah.
I had Brian for a short amount of times, and they would invite me to their club practices, and I was good enough to train, but not really good enough to play, you know, and that always stuck with me. I was like, I wanted to offer quality coaching to everybody, you know, and that's what kind of led me into coaching.
So you played, and as you grew up, I'm assuming, you know, the sport, like I like the way you described how you learned everything in life through the sport.
For sure.
I relate to that because in sport, you learn how to win, you learn how to lose, you learn teammate, you learn accountability, you learn so many different, I think, life skills, man.
For sure.
Like even the importance of leadership or being under leadership, right? Like knowing your role, knowing how this all happens or doesn't happen because it's a collective experience or effort. And then even relationship with coaches.
Right.
You know, some people are very lucky to have coaches, great coaches that help them navigate the sport, but also outside of the sport.
Right.
Because this stuff does transcend the experience in that moment in the sport. It actually has life application. So I hear you and I relate to that 1,000%. And I think, you know, I could speak on behalf of Coach Kriss when you know, you should get into a sport. Sports are good for you. You learn a lot through sports. But on the coaching thing, so you played the game, you played the sport, and then you got into this coaching thing. You said that, you know, you felt that I'm hearing you say something, correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
You want to help create a culture. This is how I'm interpreting it.
Right.
Of better coaching, quality coaching, because you didn't kind of have that.
Right.
And you're like, man, I don't want somebody else to go through that because you might be missing out on maximizing your potential when you're not experiencing that kind of high quality coaching. Is that a fair assessment?
That's pretty accurate, right? I think it comes back to, you know, kind of going in through my own trial of like really trying to make it. And like putting myself out there, paying and going to open tryouts like Sueño MLS. And
you did those?
Going out to like Coach Jonathan, again, really good friend of mine. He got invited out to Seattle Sounders, and he went out and killed it.
Nice.
You know, he was an absolute baller. Went out and killed it, and they had an open tryout around the same time. And so I paid my own way to go. And I went, and there was over 200 people that went. And I made the 11-11 side game.
Okay.
You know, went, played, and I gave it my all, you know, but it was like they weren't really.
You gave it your all, but it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't enough, maybe? Did you feel that? Did you feel that?
For sure. I just felt that I just wasn't given like the fair assessment, fair opportunity, you know? But it was like, for me, my highlight is that I made it to the 11v11 side game, right? So out of 200 people would go and make the 11v11 game. So I got to go play a whole 90 minutes. Yeah. And it was like, cool. Like I at least gave it my all. But it's looking back at it, it's like, man, I want to let people know that I respect their effort, that I care, right? And I'm here to help you get better. I'm not here to tell you you're not good enough, right? And that's kind of what started all of CDA Little Slammers. I mean, I got into coaching. I was very lucky. I was given 3 teams. It was my 02s, my 03s, and my 04s, and those were, those kids and parents and managers, I owe them my career because they're made me who I am today as Coach Kriss. I learned just so much with them. I was young. I was out partying. I was showing up to games like at 4:00, and I would text my manager and be like, hey, can you wake me up when you get here, you know? And they'd come and knock on my window, give me a coffee. And now I'm like, if I have an 8 a.m. game, I'm asleep at 9 p.m., you know, and I'm awake and fresh.
Chris, let me interject real quick with something that you mentioned, just to put in perspective, because as you talk about how you kind of painted this picture of like the managers, the teams, the parents, but I just want to emphasize on something. So for anyone watching, that where you started in the club and where it's at now.
For sure.
Let's touch on just quickly, and then we'll go back to continuing the story.
All right.
Where are we at now? Where are you at now with the club? Because it started with a few kids, and now you're at
Right.
over 100 plus, right?
For sure.
Just touch on that a little bit so we can put perspective on it. Where are you at now with the club and what you've built? And then we'll continue that story.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I think that's the main story that I want to talk on, right? Is CDA Little Slammers.
Yeah.
We started off, I think I want to say we had maybe 7 to 11, 12 kids. And it was just one day a week on Wednesdays. And it was like, hey, let's just show up and let's offer training to rec and signature players.
Mm-hmm.
CDA Slammers, Whittier didn't have a team younger than Girls 2011
Mm-hmm.
at the time. And so it was open sessions from 2012s all the way down to 2015s. And it was a slow roll. It was very slow. And then eventually we started building some momentum and we started getting more kids out there. And it was really fun because it was just one day a week, right? And at this time I was down to one team. I had my 2004s ready to graduate. And the next team's coming up for me to take over. I wasn't passionate about it, you know, and you don't make a killing in coaching. People have that misconception that coaches make a lot of money or directors make a lot of money. You don't. And I was looking at it and I'm like, man, if I'm spending time away from my family, like I have to love it. I have to believe in it. I have to be passionate. I have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a team that was giving me that vibe. So I was like, you know what? We're going to start this youth program. And something super affordable, great coaching for our rec and signature kids, you know, and eventually when they want to transition to club, you know, we'll give them a product that's worth paying. So we started getting some momentum and then COVID hits, right?
Crazy, huh?
So
when the momentum is picking up.
Right. So it's like COVID hits, takes some break, come back, and we start having like mask and like stuff like that. But it's like we still had the momentum. We still had the desire of people to come out and train with us, which was amazing. And 2.5 years later, we have over, I want to say almost 200 kids in the program.
That's ridiculous. That's insane. That's amazing.
It's been an amazing process because I had opportunities to leave and triple my salary and coach at different programs in different places. And it wasn't, at the end of the day, sat down with my wife and it just wasn't what we wanted. We started the youth program because we wanted to offer great quality coaching to the local community, the community where I grew up in, you know, and it's growing up, there wasn't club like there is today. It was, you played at AYSO and then from there you went to a travel team. And then from there it was like, okay, you'd go to an academy team, you know, and for me it was Chivas USA for a short amount of time. But it was like, there wasn't what there is now. And I love what there is now. Like,
Chris, sorry to interject real quick. So did people know that you had those options and you were thinking, or they have no clue? These parents.
No, yeah.
Because I find that interesting because people sometimes need to appreciate, you know, who's there.
Right.
When they have other opportunities and they choose not to take them. Because those other opportunities would benefit them and their families. But like you just said, you and your wife made a decision to stay, knowing that the opportunity was probably lucrative in another place financially, knowing that the misconception is that you guys are racking up all this money, but it's not the case. And you finally get an opportunity to go to one and you go, no.
Yeah.
We're still gonna build this thing.
Right.
And I feel like if people don't know that, it's good that they hear it so that they would appreciate who's here and who's offering and who's invested. And you know that whole saying, like, give honor where honor is due. And I think that a move like that and a decision like that definitely deserves honor. So I just wanted to emphasize that. Appreciate you for that. And for those of you that are watching, and he's a part of your child's or organizational soccer culture experience, you know, give the man his flowers, man. He's making decisions. Continue, Chris. My bad.
No. So it's been an amazing process to look back at it now. Right. So kind of going back to the beginning, we got to the point where we're at 50 kids and we're sitting there and I'm like, man, like, this is legit. Like, we can really build something here. And the parents wanted more. They didn't want just one session for an hour, right? They're like, hey, coach, like, when can we start playing games? Like, when can we organize this a little bit more? And, you know, at that point it was like people weren't interested because we were charging $50 a month. and it didn't make financial sense for anybody to come and coach, especially not quality coaches, right? And this is crazy because we're talking about 2.5 years, and then right now, presently, we have some of the best coaches in the youth game, and that's why the youth game is so good right now. And I really want to get into that later, but as of right now, it's like going back to the starting point, it was so hard. So what we did is we wanted to keep it affordable for the families and have me involved. So I brought 2 of my college girls, 2 of the girls that played for me, who I'm extremely grateful for because they're the ones that helped me get this program off the ground, which is Coach Izzy, which is your coach, and Coach Jaden at the time. And it was just myself. And we made a 2012 team, a 2013 team, a 14 team, and a 15 team. Yeah. And, we're making $500 a team. So all the managers were paying me. So I'd make it was looking like I was making $2,000, right? But I was paying $500 to Izzy, $500 to Jaden. And the way we structured it so the parents could have me as a coach was on Tuesdays, I would run the 14-15 session, and Jaden and Izzy would watch me. On Thursday, they would run the same session, but just on their own and deliver it in their own message. Yeah. And that's kind of been our structure and curriculum kind of going forward. Now the coaches run their own sessions. Now we have quality coaches in our program too, fast forward to 2 years. Yeah. But that's comes down from like my coaching education, which is 343, Tovo Football Academy, and La Liga methodology. All that education it's proved to me that repetition and patterns matter, especially for children. That's how they learn. Yeah. Right. And we have a lot of coaches in today's game that are constantly changing sessions or doing things differently. It's like, oh, today we're going to work on this. And this weekend we struggled on scoring, so we're going to go just do scoring. It's not about that. It's literally looking at it in a year-round plan and saying, okay, we're going to focus on this, and we're going to try to master it to a certain extent, and then we're going to move on and slowly progress. And I think people bought into the program and what we're doing. Yeah. And again, it was extremely affordable. Yeah. So we built that, and then the second year, which was last year, we were fortunate enough to build 2 teams in each age group. Like it 10x the amount of interest, and we turned a lot of players away, and people are upset about that, right? Like people are like, oh, like you turned us away or et cetera. But it's like, we want to deliver a product, a quality, and we've learned that we kind of grew a little bit too fast, and we didn't bring probably all the right people in, and we're not delivering that product. So right now it's like, oh, you guys have gotten too big. It's like, no, we haven't gotten too big. It's just we need to bring people that truly believe in what we're trying to do and buy into it. Yeah.
I assume that's not an easy thing to do. Like the whole, because it's growing. It's a good problem to have. Right. That it's growing and it's growing fast, but you don't just want to put anybody, right? You're trying to find the right people to have the best product. Right. And I assume that isn't an easy thing to achieve, as opposed to, it's easy to just get anybody and keep going, but then, it diminishes the product. So having to balance that, I think there's a challenge, no?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think with success, and a lot of entrepreneurial and business books will tell you this, you always have to have like a strike of luck. Right. And my strike of luck for me last year was Coach Jaden was leaving out of state. She got a scholarship to continue playing soccer. And Coach Izzy kind of was on the same board, but Coach Izzy chose to just do school. She didn't want to play anymore. And Coach Jaden got up and left. But at the same time, behind the scenes, 2-3 months ago, Coach Jonathan starts his own training brand, which was House of Ballers.
He's the founder of that.
Yeah, that's his thing.
That's his brand.
And I love it. Yeah. And I support it 110%. Yeah. I think, and House of Ballers is essentially what it is. And I don't want to speak, this is my best friend, but I don't want to speak for his business and platform, but it's pickup games. It's no coaching. It's street ball. It's just 5v5, 6v6, 7v7, whatever it is. There's just kids out there playing. And that's how we grew up playing. Like I mentioned earlier, we didn't have great coaches. We had people that loved us and that cared about us and tried to give us the right structure. And I appreciate that 1,000%. But you didn't have a coach yelling at you or constantly giving you instruction like we do now. Right. And I'm one of those coaches that sometimes over instruct, and I try to reduce that. But it's like what he brought to the game. He didn't invent it. Right. But he just packaged it and provided it to where it makes so much sense, and I hope people buy into it a lot more, and I hope that he can take advantage of his platform that he has right now and the interest that he has and make it something, because I truly believe in it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think I've taken my kid once or twice to something that he was doing. So, Coach Jonathan, if you're watching this, you got to get on this podcast so we can have a conversation about House of Ballers. And you can come explain all the details. But,
the name, everything's so clever. It's
it's
love
beautiful.
It.
It's House of Ballers, the concept. I've seen the merch and stuff, the logo and everything.
For sure.
Sal's a part of it. Yeah, I've seen some of
Crazy
that. Sal, where you at, Sal? We got to get you over here too. Okay, so let's keep going with your story in coaching, because I have so many questions. Like, one of them that comes to mind is, and I don't know if I want to go there just yet, and I'll just throw it out there because I'm thinking of this.
Right.
Your coaching philosophy, and the reason why, because as you mentioned, from when we started, that a big important reason why you're doing what you're doing is the establishing of quality coaching experience.
Right.
And there's so many coaches and so many maybe several coaching philosophies out there. I'm just curious to tap into your coaching philosophy. Like, what is your coaching philosophy? But I want to get there. I think so. If you're cool to talk about that.
Sure.
But I don't want to jump into something if you weren't finished saying anything you were trying to say with your story. So let me give it back to you.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get into my coaching philosophy, but as I was saying, a year ago when we were able to double the program, it was crazy because Jaden was leaving. And the 2015s was gaining some momentum. They already had a good team. But Coach Jonathan started his House of Ballers, and he was kind of coming back into coaching. And I would reach out to him and be like, hey, are you interested in coming back? And he was like, yes, I do. But he had his baby Alessandro, and he was like, I want to hang out with my son. I want to enjoy that time, which I totally respect.
For sure.
And he started training a lot of House of Ballers, was essentially all the kids that were in the program. And he started gaining, obviously, a lot of interest from players outside and bringing local players that were absolutely ballers in. And he decided, you know what, let's run it. Let's make a team. Perfect. So he came in, and that was my strike of luck for the program, right? Because bringing in Coach Jonathan to our program is like,
it's a boost
for sure.
Yeah.
And then playing through the season, I met Coach Michael, who was coaching at LA Surf. Before that was at Red Bulls, and had an extensive career of working with youth programs, and he was like, I love what you guys are doing. Like, I live in Whittier. Can I be part of the program?
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like,
another strike of luck, man.
I had two coaches, obviously Coach Jonathan, which would add value to anyone's program, but I was super excited to have him. It's my boy, it's my best friend. To have him working alongside me, I was like, dude, definitely, I want these people here.
Yeah.
So we brought him in and we built it, and we just kept on adding players, and now we're at the point where this year, if we want to, we can build 3 teams in each age group.
Wow,
right?
That's huge.
And where last year, the year that we started, like my 2013s only had 6 players playing 7v7. And we were playing like that, and I owe this not only to the program, but to the parents and players that believed in the program.
Yeah,
because like the 2013s that started with me, like we showed up to games with 6 players.
It's crazy. And
we'd have injuries, we'd have 5 players, but they believed in the product, they believed in the end product. Like, it was just. I'm super blessed with the people around me, to believe in it. So it's been an amazing experience, and going back to having the opportunities to leave and to triple my salary, it's like that's what made me say, like, no, I'm going to stick to this. Like, this is what I want.
You see the big picture. You see where you're at, how you've contributed to it, and maybe even where it could be
right
further down the line.
Yeah.
Where ultimately, there's a saying, I learned this in some business book that I read. Like, if you take care of your people will take care of you.
For sure.
So if you focus on just having a great product that really satisfies the people, which are the kids themselves and the parent satisfaction,
right.
You'll get taken care of. It's by it's a byproduct of good product being produced out there.
For sure.
You know, it's just a matter of time. And sometimes you're either going to hold on to the vision of what you have in mind.
Right.
Because clearly, I don't know how much of this you've envisioned,
Right.
but it's coming to reality, whatever it is. You might have just been like, I was just starting with 5 and look at it now. Or did you have this vision? Did you see it to be this way?
I definitely had the vision, you know, and this is what we're talking off camera. I was like, what do you believe? Or do you believe in like manifestation and meditation and stuff like that? It's because a lot of things that have come into my life, even the house I purchased earlier this year, it's things that I always wanted. Mm-hmm. I just never knew how I was going to get there. Mm-hmm. And I got it. So I sit back and I'm like, wow, I'm obviously extremely blessed, but it's been amazing. You have to believe in something else. Right. Mm-hmm. So, definitely wanted to build this program the way we've built it. And, the main thing for us right now is that we're 2.5 years in, we're only getting started. And for the first time ever, we can offer an elite program, an elite level team in Whittier. Right. And for me, it's like, that's the pedestal as of right now. Yeah. But we go back to the drawing board and we go again. So my 2012s, which is the oldest team that we started, is just got named the E64 team, which is a new league. And obviously if you go, it's ECNL, RL, right? And then you have the E64, and then you have DPL, MPL, right? So to explain the E64, it's after the ECNL and regional teams, it's the top 64 teams. And you get put into a league and you play in your age group, which is amazing because you're playing against some elite teams. Yeah. So normally if you want to play on an elite team, you have to go to Huntington Beach or Newport, like non-negotiable. Like that's where the top teams are. That's where the top coaches are. That's where the athletes kind of trickle down to and play. So for me to look at it and say, we have so much talent in La Habra, we have so much talent in Whittier, we have so much talent in La Mirada, like we have so much talent locally, Hacienda, I can go down the whole list, right? And I don't want to miss any cities and get attacked for it. No, but, right.
but don't cancel us, please.
Yeah. So, but we have so much local talent.
Yeah.
It's like we just needed somebody that was gonna to buy into the program. Yeah. And I feel that us and our staff have totally done that. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the first team, because I can totally see my 13s being there next year. Mm-hmm. I can see our 14s being there soon, and 15, and for sure our 15s are going to be there. Yeah. Right. It's like no doubt. But what people forget is that the 12s and the 15s all started at the same time.
Interesting.
So it's like, look at how far the 12s have come, but wait till even the 13s or the 14s and the 15s, even the 16s when they get there. Yeah. And if you look at the youth game now, you have quality coaches, not only at Slammers. Yeah. You go to Beach, like my boys, like the Ayala brothers, right? They have the youth teams at Beach. So you have talent there. At Pat's, you have talent there. You have Christian over at Fullerton Rangers that has some of the youth teams there. So it's like all over. So many more people are investing in the youth. Mm-hmm. And that's why the youth game is so fascinating. Yeah. Like you can go to a girls 2016 game, Flight 1, or a girls 2015 game, Flight 1, and you're seeing quality soccer. Oh, yeah,
for sure. We witnessed that one game. Our kids were playing. They got blown out, man, by like 12-0 this one time because it was Flight 1. Right. But I was watching these kids, and I was like, these kids are like little professionals. Like they just the way they understood the game and the control of the ball, it was beautiful to watch. Right. And they're smoking our kids, but I was just amazed at how the talent was there, and what that did to our kids was it woke them up.
For sure.
Like you got to get your butt whooped sometimes in order to realize like that, you know, you're not all, you know, you got a lot of work to put in and get to different levels. Right. And that's what that looks like. And then you could see that gave them, at least, you know, from what I understood, and some of the parents were, you know, commenting, it really gets us to help to like, all right, let's level up. Right. You know, but it's good. It's quality. You're in a quality, you know, atmosphere environment, which I think ties into what you're saying, because now the league thing, the whatever it's called, what's it called?
E64.
E64. They're all, you guys have that now, right? You guys have access to that now, right?
So it just allows us to get even more local talent, right? That's having to drive to Huntington Beach or having to drive other places.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I think what you just said is the biggest factor of youth sports. And we spoke about this off camera as well, but I just feel like parents are so involved in youth sports now, like our generation, right? Like if I look back at the games that my dad was there, it's like a handful, right? When he was there, it was super important, but I understood why he wasn't there because he was working. Like now, parents are constantly at games.
Yeah.
Right? Like, like they're
sure.
heavily invested, and not only in
they're going at it with the refs sometimes, bro.
but not only in practice, right? Like they're doing the extra stuff too, and like that wasn't available back in the days. So it's like now the amount of investment and support that's in the youth game, like that's why the youth game has grown so much, and I'm so grateful for that because we have essentially a business off of that, right? And we talked about money, and it's like I'm not hurting, but I'm not killing it like people think I am, you know? But it's like, I don't, money has never been a factor in this. So like, I know we mentioned that a couple times, and I don't want it to be like, oh, like he's coming on a podcast to try to get more money. No, not at all. Like I just want to make it clear because it comes down to perspective, right? But what you said right now was so huge is that the parent perspective was, okay, we need to level up. And we lose that in the youth game. There's times where it's so easy to blame the coach. It's so easy to blame the environment, right? And it's like, it's always external where we need to take it inside too. And say, okay, you know what? When was the last time I went outside and kicked the ball around with April? Right? So you're going to get mad at her on her expectations. And this is something I was talking to the kids about last night at third day session was we care when it's too late. You have to have that standard for yourself at practice from the beginning. Right? It's like you come out and you give up a goal, and then all of a sudden, okay, now we have to try. No, it's too late at that point. You have to set that standard from the beginning. And that's something that we try to instill in the program and in our kids. And that's another life lesson. You know what I mean? And the parents sometimes try to take those learning experiences away from the kid. We don't like this coach. All right, we're going to bounce to this other club. Or you know what? This is the top team in the nation. We're going to go to that team. Well, you're going to go on that team to be on the bench. You're not going to get better. Right? Why are you going to go there? Just to have the label? Like, oh, I'm on the top team? Like, I mean, is that you're skipping the struggle? And if I look back at life and talking about books, because I'm a huge reader now, there's a book where it says, you know, you walk into a room of 20-year-olds and you ask them, what's more important, the journey or the destination? They're going to say destination because they have the $1 million house, they have the yacht, they have whatever it is that they want. You go into a room of 80-year-olds and you ask them, what's more important, the destination or the journey? They're going to respond the journey because it's the journey that matters. And it's the same thing with sports. It's that journey of like, think of a movie, right? The clip of when like they're struggling, they're working, they're putting the work out in every day. For 10 seconds of glory. And you have to get back into that working state. So it's like, feel that parents sometimes forget that and they don't let their kids struggle. They don't let their kids kind of like
grow into it, right?
Exactly.
Grow into their craft, their skill, right?
Exactly. It's like, it's the first time that they're doing it. And the parents' expectations are sometimes so much higher because they compare them to somebody else. They'll be like, oh, look at Bella on the 2015s, or look at Charlotte on the 2015s, or look at Alani on the 2014s, look at Camila on 2014, and we can go into the 13s, and we can go into the 12s, and we can go into all but we compare them. It's like everybody's on a different journey.
And to that comment, I think of when Kobe said when he was a teenager and he went to like some summer camp thing, he said he was the weakest kid at that camp. But then what he did was he worked forward because he saw that there was levels to this. For sure. He wanted to grow.
For sure.
So then he committed, dedicated himself, and he said within, I don't know if it was the next summer or the next couple summers,
right,
he was by far the best player.
For sure.
And look at his resume now.
Right.
But at some point, he wasn't the greatest.
Right.
He had to work towards that.
Yeah.
And some parents fail to realize that, I think. The process.
They want to skip the struggle.
They want to skip it. And you can't. And even Kobe said in a different interview where he fell in love with the process.
Right.
You got to love the process. And that's how you'll become great.
Right.
And we got to teach that. And so, and I think coaching philosophy helps, because then you can have coaches instill that in parents.
Right.
When you have these parental meetings, like, all
Right.
right, guys, let's bring it in, parents. Let me remind you that there's a process.
For sure.
So hang tight.
For sure.
There's a plan. We have structure.
Right.
This is what it looks like.
Right.
Trust the process.
Right.
Your kids are going to be fine if you give it a shot.
Right.
And that's quality coaching.
Yes, but it's hard to sell it, right? Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, you're a paying customer.
Oh, yeah, 100% for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'll give you a perfect example. Somebody on your team, Caitlin, she was on the original team, the first team. And then when we split and we had enough to build 2 teams, she was one of those players on the cusp. There was a couple. And for all the teams, there was a couple players on the cusp, 15s, 14s, 13s, 12s.
Yeah.
And it's having that conversation with parents and saying, hey, you know what? Like, Caitlin's good. Mm-hmm. But I feel that she's going to develop more because the game is the greatest teacher. At the end of the day, mm-hmm. there's nothing we can do as coaches to replicate the game. Mm-hmm. We can get as close as we possibly can. Mm-hmm. But the game is the greatest teacher. Kids need to play. Mm-hmm. So we've had this conversation, again, down the board, 12s, 13s, 14s, 15s. And she was one of the few that was like, okay, I'm going to go to the lower level team mm-hmm. and put in the work. Mm-hmm. And next year we'll reevaluate. She plays every minute of every game on her team. She's gotten so much better as to where there's players on your team that are barely getting playing time that feel that maybe they may have regressed. Right? And it's like, okay, now it's like, all right, maybe I should have put my pride aside and said, I don't want my daughter on the top team, but provide the best environment. And that, at the end of the day, is what we've always wanted to create, is create the best environment for each individual. And I teach it, or I try to explain it to the parents as like the school system. Everybody learns differently. Everybody develops 100%. Differently. And we had so many parents on the 12s, 13s, 14s, and 15s that didn't buy into it, and they left, and they're somewhere else now. And I wish that I could reach back out to them and be like, hey, like, how's it going? Or like, hey, come back, because we were never a program that we wanted to cut 5, 6, 7-year-olds. We created a platform for every single one of them. That's what we did. Like, we started all with one team. The first year, it wasn't tryouts. It was like, what age group were you? 2012. Cool, you're on the team. And once we had enough for the team, it was like, cool. The second year, okay, we were able to be selective. But it wasn't really being selective. It was putting them in an environment where they were going to flourish and grow. And this next year, coming into tryouts, that's the plan too. Flight levels were created for a reason. At the end of the day, you have flight 1, you have flight 2, you have flight 3. And we place your kid to where we believe where they're going to grow and benefit from the most. For sure. But the parent, as the paying customer, is like, they
don't always see it that way.
I want my daughter to be here. And it's like, she can be there. She just needs a little bit more time. So, I mean, if there's a better way, if anybody has a better way of delivering that message or communicating with parents, please let me know. And it's hard because it comes down to perspective. It's my perspective as a coach of what I believe is best for your daughter, and your perspective as a parent of what you believe is best for your daughter. How do you argue that?
No, it's a tough one, but from with my opinion on that matter is, I would be an easy parent to deal with, as far as if you came to me and told me, hey, we got to put your kid here. The only question that comes to my mind is that the best place for her? Right. Not is that the best team, or is that it's about the environment. Right. We are a product of our environment.
For sure.
So where is the best place for her to be so she can grow? Not so that she can necessarily be the best.
Right.
It's because the kid is growing. We're talking about kids here, right? They're in the stages of growing. They're learning, they're developing. So where's the best place for her to be in that development, season of her life?
Right.
And if it's in this location, this situation, this place, that team, sign me up.
Right.
Like, no brainer.
Right.
And I would blindly trust the experienced people who know what they're doing way more than I do. But not every parent, and I'm paying, but but other parents don't have that perspective. What they have is, because I'm paying, it's kind of like, I tell you what to do. And it's like, no, it's that's not how you should view it. You're paying people to train your child. And if the person you're paying, the coach or the coaching staff, is educating you, informing you, and trying to give you this perspective that they should be elsewhere for whatever reason or different reasons, but ultimately it's because it's going to benefit them the most, there's got to be a trust. Try to trust that. I think that would be my message to parents. Try to trust the coaches. And it's not easy because we all want to be in control. We're in control of our destiny. I think I know more than the coach. What does the coach know? Right? That's how they talk. That's how they think sometimes. And it's to their detriment. And to the kids, they're lowering that experience for them. So sometimes my message would be, trust your coach a little bit, man. Trust Coach Kriss.
Yeah, definitely. No, but listen, and I'm a huge person on perspective. Yeah. I always want to look at everybody's perspective. Yeah. And on the defensive side of the parents, I'll say this. The world of soccer has grown so much. Mm-hmm. It's such a business now that we need good coaches. Yeah. We need coaches in general, so we're not turning kids away. Yeah. So it's essentially, and it's sad to say, but almost anybody can coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Almost anybody can coach. So
but not everybody's a good coach.
For sure. And that's where it's like, that's where we're a true believer as far as like what we've grown. But it's like, it's hard to tell parents to trust me or to trust coaches because not all coaches have that best interest, right? Not all coaches have the true intuition of being a role model. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are. These kids look at us.
Can we say, like, into what you're saying? Sorry to just interject, but it's not every coach is quality coach. Because I feel like it's easier to trust when you know you have a quality coach. Like, I really view you as a quality coach.
I appreciate that.
If you weren't, I would have a harder time trusting you. Like, when it comes to decision making for my kid. Yeah. Because, like, I don't know if you know what you're talking about, coach. But when you know, like, the quality is there, right? It's almost like that speaks for itself, right? Definitely. So that's got to help.
Definitely. But I don't want to diss any coach whatsoever. I believe anybody that puts themselves in a position to help children play is an amazing person.
Sure.
Right? Not everybody understands the role or the importance that they have on that child's life, and that's what bothers me. Yeah. Like,
no,
we lose. How would I say it? But you essentially play such a huge role in this kid's development. The way I try to explain it to my wife and a couple friends the other day was, like, I love math because Miss Brick at La Habra, like algebra 2 honors. I failed it the first year, took it again the second year, and I killed it. And I just loved the way that she taught me. Yeah. But I didn't like science. But I also didn't like my science teacher. Yeah. And I look at a teacher as a coach, and it's a kid can love a sport. They can be on the worst team, but they can love the sport because they love the human that was teaching them. Yeah. As to where you can learn to hate the sport because you just had a bad experience with the coach.
100%, yeah.
So a coach plays such a huge role, and I think people forget that or don't understand the importance of that. Yeah. So to defend parents to a certain extent, it's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes your coach doesn't really have the best interest. But when somebody cares and genuinely goes out of their way to try to not only give a solution, I think that is what was missed and when we built our program, because what we did is we didn't cut kids. We gave them another platform. Say, hey, you know what? Let's put April here. The easiest thing would have been, we're only going to make one team one team only, because that would have made my life a lot easier. It would have made Coach Jonathan's life a lot easier, Izzy's life, Michael's life, and the list goes on. Coach Jesse's life. Hey, you know what? We're just taking these kids. You guys didn't make it. I'm sorry. No, that wasn't our thing. It was like, all right, cool. We're going to push you guys, challenge yourself a little bit more. You guys need a little bit more time. Cool. This is what we're going to do. Yeah. This is going to be your coach. Yeah. And people didn't buy into that, which is okay. And it's probably going to happen again this year, which I'm sad to see. But I mean, we're just,
but you're doing what you guys believe is best for the people involved,
For sure.
the kids, the organization,
Right.
the culture, the philosophy that you guys have established.
Right.
And that's what's going to drive you to do the things you do, regardless of how the parents, unfortunately, some will take it, in a wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's in any organization, business, for-profit, nonprofit.
Right.
The leaders, the directors, the CEOs, the founders, whatever, they have to make decisions that they believe is best for the organization.
Right.
And it's either up to the people, paying or non-paying.
Right.
You got to trust that, or not. And but I like where I actually love, and specifically what you're doing, Kriss, as a coach, because I'm an observer. I'm very, very observing of people, and I look at how people communicate and talk, and kind of just the details of leadership. And I think definitely, without a question, a lot of the success of the program up to what you guys have built has a lot to do with your leadership, with your impact, with your influence, with your credibility. And mind you, I don't even know your past soccer. I don't know any of your past. I just know your present. And in your present,
right,
you're killing it. Like this guy, how much do I got to pay for my kid to be around this guy and his mindset and his philosophy and his soccer culture style type of thing? Yeah, sign me up.
Right.
That's why I think, look at what you've been able to experience in such a short time, and just that's just props to you, man. I think you people may not tell you that all the time. Maybe they tell you regularly, but I think I'd be missing an opportunity to not mention that to you directly. And I don't say this for any light camera BS. This is just facts. Like this is truth, because I come from that culture. Like I come from a hardworking, high value, customer service type of culture background.
Sure,
like I want to give the best to the people, especially if they're paying. If they're
1000%.
paying, man, we got to go above and beyond
1000%.
to give them as best as we can, the kind of product we can to keep them satisfied, because they're paying customers.
For sure.
It's cool to watch someone else doing it in their own field differently, and it's important to to shout it out, because we don't sometimes.
Right.
It's almost like we take people for granted. We take programs for granted. We take opportunities. That's why it was pretty cool to hear your story where you shared how you've had opportunities to go elsewhere.
Right.
And they're very, very attractive opportunities, because you gotta think through these things with your family, but you're still here because you're not done. You got a lot. Right. There's some things that you're yet to do, which I can't wait to ask some of that. So before I go on to because I definitely now want to start asking you on the why. Like, why do you do everything that you do? But let me not miss if you still have more to say on what we've been talking about. Did you have more to say on whatever you were talking about right now?
No, nothing besides the fact of saying thank you. And it's like, and it's for people like you, but it's like, the program was built for the community, by the community.
Oh.
And I truly believe that, because we've grown so organically, not only with our coaching staff and the amazing people that I have around me. The program isn't me. Mm-hmm. The program is a community. Mm-hmm. Local people that bought into it and that continue to pay us monthly. Mm-hmm. I mean, we wouldn't be here without them. So I'm super grateful for the people around me as coaches, for the parents, for the managers that know all the stuff that go on behind scenes. Mm-hmm. I mean, dude, like there's no better way to put it. It's literally, it was for the community, by the community. And that's why I tell all the parents in our program, let me know what businesses you have. Let me shout you guys out. Let me help you guys out, because it's community based.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And that's what I love about it. And it's been amazing. And
where'd you learn that, Kriss?
What's that?
Where'd you learn this idea where did you get it from? I want to do this for the community, by the community. Is that something you picked up? Or is it something you learned throughout the process? Like, because that's a great way of looking at it.
No, for sure. And you know what? I think it's something that came in the process of building it, because it was just so community based. Yeah. And when I say we grew organically, it was like, hey, we're going to invite a friend from school. We're going to invite my neighbor. We're going to invite this. That's literally how the program has grown.
It's crazy.
to 200. I mean, there's families on the sideline that went to high school together and they reunited because of soccer. That's the beauty of the game, right?
That's awesome.
But it's also the beauty of the community.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely just a blessing, and it's been so cool to see it all come alive.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so grateful for it. And at the end of the day, just to tap back into the money side of it, is I'm the type of person, I'm the type of character, and I've caught myself saying this a lot more recently, is I'm going to give you the same job. I'm the same Coach Kriss that was getting paid $500 to the same coach that's getting paid my salary right now. You're not getting a different product on base what I was paid. That's my character. And I feel that that's what has brought people into us. Coach Jonathan took a huge pay cut to come to us at the Slammers. He could have gone to Pats. He could have gone to any other place. But he wanted to be here, right? And it wasn't for me, and it was like he just bought into that age group. And he's like, okay, cool, this is where I want to be. Like, this is where, and that's Jonathan.
Yeah.
Jonathan was coaching with me before, and he was like, he didn't like it. He's like, I'm out. And from the next day, he was out. Same thing with the way he came back. He was like, I'm in, and he's in, and he's full in. You know, so it's like, I want to make that one thing like absolutely clear. You're going to get Coach Kriss, you're going to get Coach Jonathan, you're going to get Coach Izzy, you're going to get all of our coaches, Coach Michael, everybody. You're going to get them. We have that character of people. Yeah. Like, they're not working off of their salary. They're working off of their character and what they care and love about the sport.
No, that's beautiful, man. And if I could just add something to that, I've always said this, that you get what you pay for. So even though it's not about financial, it's not a financial thing. And it's very clear, right? The passion is there. The attention to detail is there. But some people don't understand that quality is also honorable. Like, we need to honor quality. When quality is presented, you take care of quality. You cherish quality. You promote quality, and you definitely pay for that quality. Like, if you go there's a lot of movie theaters to go watch a film. Right. Some are cheaper. You can go to a little $5 one that's like, it probably doesn't smell the best. There's probably who knows what on the floor, and tiny little torn screens. You can watch the same movie. Right. But when the quality is presented, now you have a larger screen. Now there's a bigger crew. There's a bigger place. Maybe the parking is not 3 blocks away. Like, there's so many factors to consider. And I think that as I just want to take advantage of the moment here, that, a worker is worthy of their wages. For like, sure. You guys being maybe underpaid is something that you're doing for the cause for the time being, but the future, for sure, prices are going up. The future will dictate. Like, right. You know what? There's a season for everything. We're building something. We built that reputation. Even like in the film business, like, if I want to shoot music videos for somebody, right, and I don't have a resume of shooting music videos, how can I just come up with a standard base fee? I'd rather come in as let me do it for free, man. Let me show you. Exactly. Let me earn your business. Exactly. So then you see my quality, and then it's got to match. It's got to be. It's got to be good if I'm going to charge a good, fee, right? But I think that, people, there's a lot of people, parents, they, not all, but some, a significant amount, right? They want everything for free. They want it like all at a discount price, and you got to understand, like, there's a time and place where you're getting the hookup price, right. But when the day comes, where prices go up, you're. It's not because someone's trying to take something from you. It's just now that this is fair pay. Because right now you could argue it's not even fair pay. Right. In the sense of people are taking those hits. People are taking a lesser to be a part of a program. Right. But I only say this on behalf of parents who don't fully understand. Because I understand it. Like, when the prices go up, I get it. 100%. Like, let's do it. Sure. We have a great program. And matter of fact, I expect it to go up because I know I'm getting a deal, and it's a sweet deal, and I appreciate it for the time that it's here. But when that day comes, it's like, I'm not going to go look for the next cheaper price because they're not going to provide the same service. And does that, you get what I'm saying?
No, 1,000%. And I don't think there's one parent in our program right now that we turned around and said the program's going to go up $5 to $50. Yeah. I don't think anybody would hesitate whatsoever. Yeah. Like, I feel that everybody in our program believes in the program. That's why they're here. I don't believe that they're here for the price, because you can get a cheaper product. You can get a better product. And at the end of the day, the prices balance out.
For sure.
Prices are always going to balance out. So I just think that the people we have, they roll with us 110%.
Yeah, I agree. And to that point, we know that this isn't about the money. We know that. You know that. Everybody,
Right.
People around you will know this is about the sport. This is about the training, the development of the ones that you have with you. So let's go into the why. Why do you do this, Kriss? What drives you? What are the passions? What are the thoughts? What's keeping you going, man?
Dude, it's funny.
Because we definitely know
Right.
We made that crystal clear. This ain't about a paycheck.
Right.
Because you got other places to go get paychecks.
Right.
You're here for a different, bigger purpose. What are some of those?
That's crazy, because right now that you're asking me that, just thinking about it just made me tear up, which is super weird. Because I'm very passionate, but I'm not very emotional.
Yeah.
But it's like, perfect example. I'm going to bring it home to you. April. April loses a game and it ruins her day. That's why we do it. The passion, right? She wins a game. She won a tournament. How'd she feel when she won her first tournament?
Amazing.
She was over the moon, right? And just that experience of the struggle, that experience of the victory, like we get to share those moments with the kids and we get to coach them through that. It's, yes, we're coaching the game of soccer, but we're just coaching them life. At the end of the day, if we leave CDA Slammers and none of our kids make it pro, but our kids come out as good human beings, dude, we won.
It's a win.
Like that's my why. My why is helping somebody achieve something that they can't see for themselves, right? Helping them believe or become something that they don't even know how they're going to get there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's kind of like that belief factor, that helping them achieve something that they don't even know that they're capable of. Because I look back at my soccer career and it was nothing compared to the world perspective of what it should be or could be and what people have out there, right? But it's like, I feel that if I would have had somebody believe in me, if I would have had somebody outside of family, right? Somebody to give me that support and that, no, you can do this and I'm going to help you get there. It's like, that's what I always wanted, right? So it's like me providing that to kids now. And I just think that's why I do it. And I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it when players look at me in the middle of the game like, I just did that. It's like, that's right. We just did that. Like, we just did that. Yeah. And you didn't think you could do it. And it's the beauty of it.
Yeah. And I as I hear you say that, what comes to mind too is there's got to be a sense of satisfaction when you're making that impact with these kids, because ultimately that's what you want to do. You want to be involved in something that you're passionate about, and that you feel you're fulfilling part of your purpose. I mean, we know you talked about it. You're not just a coach, right? You're in real estate. You do real estate. You're in the real estate business. But there is a satisfaction in fulfilling a part of your purpose, right?
For sure.
Where you're gifted, skilled, talented in the craft or in the sport of soccer. You get to now coach that,
right,
and deposit in the kids you're a part of or the other coaches that are in your program.
Right.
And overall, the organization, the culture, the branding of it, like, it's all got to be satisfactory, man. You got to feel.
For sure.
And I think those are the things that helps us keep going, and especially when you have the parent support.
1,000%.
Hopefully, you're getting that financial support. Hopefully, you're getting
1,000%.
Even within the other organizations and leagues and stuff, you're seeing all that come, helping you out to, get into other tournaments and whatnot. But the more you're getting all those things added into you, man, it's got to keep allowing you to drive and keep going forward. So it's cool. And it's really cool to hear what's driving you. But now I got to ask, what's next for you? Because what's now, you guys are killing it now.
Right.
What do you think is next for you? What do you see 5 years down the road? What do you see 10 years down the road as you continue to be a part of this? Have you looked into that? Have you thought of that?
No, I mean, yes, I have. Of course I have, right? But as of right now, I just really want to make sure that we continue providing the best environment and product for the kids that we have. Do we want to grow? 1,000%. But right now it's just really taking care of the ones that believed in us, and trying to make now the best product to continue moving forward.
Yeah.
One thing I would love to start is more like elite training centers and camps, right? And when I say elite, I'm not talking about working with the best of the best, because this whole program was started working with rec and signature kids, right? Like all of our teams kids came from rec and signature.
Yeah.
So it's about providing quality coaching for those kids. So like my next thing is going to be, I'm going to get back into group sessions. I've taken a little bit of time off of privates and stuff of that. I take care of my clients that have been with me, but I'm going to open up a little bit more and do like closed sessions. So do 8 kids for an hour and a half. And then I want to do like position specific, right? I want to do 10, 15 kids, take them over to the college at Fullerton College and coach them up for a college showcase, which is something we don't have, right? Like we tell our kids like, hey, go to the college showcases so you can get in the environment. But it's like the fact of walking up to a coach before the session even starts and shaking his hand and looking at him, hey, thanks for the opportunity to have me here.
Yeah.
The emails prior, how do we send those emails, right? Emails are so generic now. And videos, a lot of parents think that you still have to make these 2 to 5 minute clips, highlight clips. It's 20, 30 seconds. That's the attention spasm of people right now anyways, right? So it's 20, 30 seconds, small little clips. And most coaches aren't even doing emails anymore. They're doing texting and phone calls, And then it's like, hey, if they see a little clip that they're interested in, most coaches now, from what I've experienced, are just getting on the phone and saying, hey, cool, send me a full clip now. And they'll review the full game clip. Because when you send them a highlight video, well, what is it? It's all your best moments, right? So I want to get into coaching a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And then more, I really want to, not that I want to create my own coaching platform, but I really want to make coaching education more accessible to people that want it. Because myself, I went out and looked for it. I went out and bought courses. But that's because my desire, and that's me as my character. I want to be the best, and I want to provide the best for not only myself, but for my clients and the people that I'm around.
Yeah.
So I don't feel that people understand that there's resources out there or anything like that. But I mean, kind of like this, just sit down together and let's talk. What's your best session? And why is it your best session? How does it relate to the game? How does it help your players? It's not about what we know that helps us win a game. It's what our players understand and know.
Yeah.
All right. So it's more about just getting more quality coaching and getting more out of our sessions with the little time that we have with the kids.
Yeah.
So that's I guess that's in the works for what's next.
Awesome. What can do you guys need anything right now? Just because if there's anyone watching and listening,
Right.
what do you think there's something you need that you could just take advantage of the moment and just tell them? Like whether it's we need more parents involved, we need more coaches, we're interested, we're looking. Like I'm just trying to take the moment so that you have the platform to share.
Sure.
What do you guys need? Is there anything you guys need?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think we need lights.
Okay.
Lights. I think the club does an amazing job on providing the light generators, but you always have something going on with them, right? So
as we had in my little studio right now, off camera, I know the lights are a problem.
So lights, mechanics to come out and and to fix them, right? Fields. We need some behind the scenes stuff, but I think right now we're extremely grateful for everything that we have. I mean, ideally, right now, I know the club as a whole is looking to try to salvage and sell the lights that we have and just start renting the LED ones. That's a massive project, right? That people don't understand. People show up to practice Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, whatever, and they're like, oh, these lights. And it's like, we're working behind the scenes, but it's not just this field. It's so many other fields, right? And we have 1-2 mechanics for 250 plus teams, So it's a lot of work, and people don't think that we're aware of it, but we are aware of it, So we're trying to make the best for the customer experience. But yeah, I mean, if anybody has connections to LED lights, if anybody has a mechanic that can help us, it would be truly, I guess, appreciative of that.
Anything else, Kriss, that comes to mind as far as like things that can help you guys with the program, what you're doing, coaching? Is there anywhere maybe people could donate? But you guys have anything set up like that for them? Maybe merch that they can purchase that helps what you guys are doing? What's out there for you guys?
So we don't at the moment, but currently I would love to start doing something in that, whether it's merchandise, whether it's camps, whether it's something where we can not only have people donate, but get something back for their donation. Yeah. And so we can help players or families that need that extra funding, right? Or to cover the fees or something that we can do to help out. Like one thing that I do personally is my Mila Cares soccer camp, which I believe you've been a part of. But it's just,
if I have, I've forgotten. I don't even know. But
yeah. So the camp essentially was we do one every year. This year we didn't. We had a lot going on with our personal life. But just we had a hard pregnancy with my first daughter Mila, and so named short for Milagro, right, which is miracle. So she was our little miracle baby. And I was like, I remember being in the hospital, and I was like, God, give me this baby girl, and I promise you I will give back to the world, but just give me my girl. And he did. And so every year I've done a soccer camp, and I donate half of the money back to a charity. The first year we did an all-girls orphanage in Ensenada. And it's called, it's called La Casa Hogar Estrella. Donated $1,500. Women products, like just a lot of stuff, right? And it was an amazing experience. And what I got from it was so much more than I felt that I gave them, right? Second year, we went to my mom's hometown. My mom built a house where she was from. My parents migrated from Mexico to here. An amazing story in its own. And we went back to the town. We went back, the whole family rolled. So we did Mila Cares. I did a Thanksgiving soccer camp.
That's awesome, man. For
$150. Is another thing that irks me. I'll get into it later. But we did it for $150, and we were able to donate $2,500 plus to the whole town. We took blankets, we took rice, we took beans, we took oil, we took clean water, like we took powdered milk. And the crazy thing is my sister-in-law, but the pastor from my mom's small town was helping us organize it. And I was like, okay, I want to donate milk. Like I want to donate stuff. Yeah. And it's like, well, we can't donate milk, mijo. And I'm like, why not? Well, half of the families that we adopted didn't even have refrigerators. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was crazy. I have pictures of some of the houses that we're walking into and these people and their stories. And it was just, man, it was an extremely emotional day, but it was an absolute blessing to be able to give back. So I want to do more stuff like that. Yeah. But instead of going outside, I want to take care of our people here too. Right. Sure. Like, so I don't know how we're going to do it. Yeah. So if anybody has ideas, I'd be open to it. But I definitely want to do something to give back to our community too, that has supported us so much.
Love it, man. And another thing that comes to mind is when I think about what do you guys need, what do you guys can get help with? Like I just, I'm in the film business, so I do, camera work for the most part, film, like cinematic filmmaking stuff, not photography. But how about if there's anybody watching and they want to help out with photography, with videography, can they come to you guys and say, hey, I'll film that event that you're doing this and, contribute? Like, could they do something like that?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Do they reach you directly, or how do
just reach out to me. Okay. I mean, I'd love any exposure that we can get of the program, so of any of the teams or all the teams, the whole program, the whole club. I believe that we're trying to do our best for the kids in the community.
No, and I love it because how did you word it? It's for the community, by the community.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like we almost trying to take advantage of the moment to invite community
for sure,
continue to push that
for
forward.
Sure.
Okay, so now those are some of the. I actually have one other question I want to ask before we move on to that. If someone doesn't make your club team for whatever reason, but with your private sessions, do you offer that, or is that exclusively only for the kids that are in your program through the club? Right. Like, can somebody that's playing rec right now, and they want to stay there, but they want to get some private lessons with you, do you offer that to that?
For sure.
Do you have space for that in your program and your schedule to do that?
For sure. Yeah. But, I mean, it might not be with me personally, but our staff is, Coach Jonathan does it, Coach Izzy does it, Coach Dario, Coach. I'm not sure if Coach Michael does privates, but everybody in our staff can
offer it.
If somebody reaches out to me, that's our thing. Like we want to take care of people, right? Like we don't like to turn people away.
Yeah.
If you're rude, we'll turn you away. No, like hey, anybody that's willing to put in the work, we'll help you. And our prices are extremely affordable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100% for sure.
Even for like private training for camps, stuff like that, people are charging $200 for 2-day camps, and it's like, and they're daycare camps. You know, they're not getting quality sessions out of it. So it's like that's a whole nother thing. Yeah. But I mean, please reach out to me. We'd love to help out as many people as we can, because that's what all we're trying to do. Yeah.
All right. All right, Kriss, I think we've come to our conclusion here. I just don't want to make sure I don't miss anything. We didn't get a chance, and maybe we could do that for the part 2. I want to talk a lot about your coaching philosophy. And maybe we could just focus on that on the next one, just coaching mindset, coaching culture, coaching philosophy, and we could just dive deep in that, because a lot of it, for at least this first go-around, was telling your story, hearing where you're coming from and why you're doing what you're doing.
Right.
I think the next one is like, how do you do it now? What gets you there? What what are some of the tips and stuff that you've learned on coaching philosophy? And I think that'd be a great conversation to have. But before we wrap it up, maybe, I don't know if you have a specific route or place where someone can get in hold of you. Is it an email? Is it a phone number? How do we get people to get in contact with you if they need to get in contact with you? What's the best way to do that? Is it the Slammers page on social media? What are you sending the people to go to if they need want more, to learn more, connect with you more in the whole program and all that? Where do they go?
Yeah, so right now it would be email, which is Kriss, KRISS, the number 7 at me.com. Just because I'm taking a little bit of a break from social media. Just because with a little bit of real estate in the day, and then a lot of soccer consumes my life. I'm also a girl dad of 2, and I want to be present when I'm home. Yeah. So I've deleted social media. I'm taking a little bit of a break. I'm definitely gonna come back pretty soon here, but it's been good to be off of it for a little bit. But definitely email me. It's Kriss, KRISS 7. The number 7 at me.com, and we'll connect from there. And then if it's something for sure, like worthwhile or something we can get going, I'll definitely hand out my phone number at that point.
Perfect. All right, great. Well, Kriss, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'm so glad that we had the conversation, because I think your story is amazing. You have a great story, and clearly what you've been doing, what you are doing, is speaks for itself, So I'm really honored to have you here, and I'm always at your service, man. If you ever need anything, and if I can be of help, let me know. So appreciate you. Is there any final thoughts on your end before we wrap it up that you need to say or that you wanted to say, to make sure I didn't cut you off or anything? Any last comments for yourself?
No, man. Thankful for the opportunity of being on the podcast, my first podcast ever.
Awesome, man.
And I believe there's a lot of people that have great stories, and I'm blessed for the opportunity to share mine.
Definitely.
I think we talked about it a little bit off camera, just the whole manifestation thing of how just things come together, and the timing of the timing of meeting you and you having your podcast and kind of where the program's at now. It's just. It's that strike of luck again, Awesome. So, dude, it's been great. It's been fun. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Kriss. And just like you started your soccer program, and now a few years later you blew it up, I'm starting my podcast. So maybe in a few years I'm gonna blow this thing up.
For sure. wishing you even more success.
Give me the tips, brother, to keep pushing through. Well, that'll conclude our time. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching and you found value in any of this, let us know about it. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to hear if you're going to apply any of these things. We'll put the information that Kriss mentioned on these links in bio, so that way it's easy for you to access it. But if you have any questions about this subject, you can give us a call. I have a designated number, 562-583-9895. That's the number for the podcast. But if you have any other questions as well, or you can reach out, you can email, you can call, you can text, put it in the comments, like and subscribe if you're finding value in any of this. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Again, Kriss, thank you for helping us out or being with us today. And we'll see you all on the next one. Take care, guys.
Perfect.